Welcome to a world of thrills, a world of drama, of capes and tights, a world where death is a revolving door. Welcome to the Geek Matrix.
Hello, everybody. Josh, you're muted.
I am muted. This feels like deja vu.
Yeah, we just did this. We had a technical issue. We've been talking for about 20 minutes until Josh realized we had a glitch and didn't actually go live.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. But these things happen. So hello, everybody. My name is Nico Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
You know, the worst part about this is that for the first time in a long time, Rob got the episode number right and we weren't live.
So this is the DC Comics review show of the Geek Matrix, episode number 562.
No,
Damn it.
562. What the hell?
No, this is 213.
213.
213. Excuse me.
No.
Yeah, so we are here, as always, to talk DC Comics, weekly releases that have come out this week, as well as a few other things, including what's going on in our personal lives. We talked a bit about World of Warships, but I think we can skip around that.
Yeah, it's yeah, a little bit. Oh, yeah, it's a fun game. You should hop on there,
Yeah.
try and find us. We are one of the people on there.
Two of the people.
Two,
on
well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
each one of us is one.
We
of
are
the
not
people
of
on
one
there.
mind, despite what
No.
people believe.
The TGM hive mind
Yes.
is coming to collect you.
The TGM hive mind is schizophrenic and can't agree.
No, it's like, yes, we can. No, we can't. Shut up.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I like there's very few things between the three of us that we agree on. More often than not, these shows become like debate fests.
Yeah, the Discord's the same way.
Oh god, it's so fun. So fun.
It
Speaking of
works
the
for me.
Discord, folks, the Discord is now free. We have decided, I think it was 13 episodes ago.
I'm not
so it'd
sure.
be 13 weeks ago. I think it was around episode 200. We decided just make it open season. If you want to join the Discord, it is free to join and hop in all the chat rooms and talk with us. Wow, I just aged myself. The Discord threads, the chat threads,
The Discord channels.
channels. Jesus.
And
Thank you.
We've got all kinds of shit, including whatever we want, which is someplace we take all kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. You ain't got to pay anything. We're just here doing something we think is fun while it hemorrhages my money. So all of you guys out there, just come on and stop by if you want to chill out. Episode 213, Rob was a shit, and you said 563 this time. I almost understand. I wish you the best luck for next week.
I just threw a number out there. I don't know what you understand, because I don't even understand.
You wanting to get the number wrong this time.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what happens next week. I might be back to 6. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe I'll be like Marvel Comics and jump straight to 1,000.
Oh my.
Who knows?
No, let's not do that.
No.
No. But what we can do is cover some comic books. I'm gonna hit us up with the commercial here real quick, but before we do, I am gonna tell you all a little bit about the honorable mentions here, and that's all you're gonna hear because they're just mentions. Gotham City Sirens number 4. For what it was not bad. It was a entertaining jaunt, I guess, if that's your thing. Not exactly my kind of story. Um, but I can tell you psychedelics are definitely something that is a thing around Poison Ivy. This is like the 4th time in the last year, so I'm thinking it's a thing. And there's a chance that Punchline got her ticket punched. So not bad, 7 out of 10 to wrap up that series. Power Girl number 12 was a date issue. Absolute Power Origins number 2. I'm just not saying anything about date issues ever again. I catch so much shit from everyone in every direction. Origins, Absolute Power Origins number 2. It gives the very beginning of Task Force X, like the very beginning, and some motivation for Waller's action and her, let's say, general disposition, her modus operandi personality. She is. Altogether, it wasn't that bad. 7.75 out of 10. Check it out if you have not already. It is a good little side piece to the Absolute Power storyline. Probably shouldn't have said side piece. Batman Dark Age number 5. It's different. It's cool. And there's both the story and the art. That is both the story and the art for sure. A real good read. And also 5 issues in and also enjoying it quite a lot. Even though I'm usually one to complain about Batman fatigue when it's going on. Batman Off-World number 5. The art looks fantastic in here. I love the all reds. Or no, wait, that was Dark Age. My bad. Excuse me. Anyway, there's some panels in here that give me nostalgia, and I have yet to figure out why. Even bringing this up prior, I'm still trying to figure out why these panels feel so familiar to me. Anyway,
I get what you're saying, because I think it's a case of this is a Batman that's technically like year 2,
yeah,
so to speak, or year 1 even. And it's a much younger Batman, but also because of that, you're not getting like, we're so used to like grizzled vet Batman at this point, who has like 13 wards and has seen the shit and has gone
wards.
through death like 15 times. And he's
took an Omega beam from Darkseid.
Yeah, straight to the head. And like he's fought gods
Chest.
and monsters and things that go bump in the night multiple times. And every time he's come out on the other side, and that's going to do something to you after 20 fucking years. But this is a Bruce that's not gone through that. This is a Bruce that's actively looking for it so he can prepare. And like I think that's where the nostalgia factor is coming in, because it feels like a Batman that you would have read 30, 40 years ago.
You very well could be onto something there. I think you might be right.
Also helps that Jason Aaron is writing it, and he's probably doing specifically that. Like he's probably thinking of a Batman before all the crisis happened, or just post-crisis on Infinite Earths kind of deal, like 80s, early 90s Batman before the shit hit the fan once a year.
I feel you.
So that would be what he grew up on.
Yeah, right? Not dating him or anything.
I mean, he's somewhere around one of our ages. He's got to be. Right?
And somewhere around a 10-year gap, plus or minus some.
Yeah. Like most, if not all, modern day DC writers would be. Like within our age group. So
30. So he's 30 to 50.
Yeah. So it stands to reason that like
pretty narrow gap.
Whatever feeling we're getting, he's probably trying to give that vibe.
Well, if that is the case, and you're probably right, he is doing it right. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
One more Batman book, just in the honorable mentions alone. Batman: The Brave and the Bold, number 16. I am shocked, and I mean it, that I have 16 issues of an anthology series, and I have yet to find one that I'm really just that I can complain about. It's so weird. I complain about anthology series as a hobby. But a DC anthology series, let me correct that. Didn't mean to offend you, heavy metal. 7.5 out of 10. John. John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America #8. I gave that an 8. Just go out there and read it already. And do the same for Nice House by the Sea #2, which I also gave an 8 to. They are really good stories. If you get into the gritty, or you get into horror, or you get into mind bending, they're both very interesting and well worth the read. Zatanna Bring Down the House #3. The story has been basically Zatanna coming into her own here. She doesn't know how to do magic, and now in this issue, she's got no choice but to figure it out because she's got to fight against a giant bunny rabbit known as the Destroyer of Souls. It is as ridiculous as it sounds, and yet quite the threat. Zatanna's going to have to kick it into high gear here. The art style is really cool too. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it is. There's a lot of color. It's a lot of cool, unique ways of doing the angles and the backdrops. So I strongly suggest checking it out. It's not going to be, an Eisner Award winner, but it is definitely a fun Zatanna book to read. And if there's anything I'm realizing, it's how incredibly popular Zatanna is. I've always been a big fan of Zatanna, but I recently went over to the McFarlane Figures subreddit and asked which figures of McFarlane's that they've never released before. What figures would people like to see from DC Multiverse? And by and large, Zatanna was in the top 3. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, Zatanna's a big, big, big deal here. And there as well, you should give the book a read. That's all I'm saying. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. It was really good. And even though I don't have it, I want to let everybody know out there, 0 Hour 30th anniversary special #1 came out. Again, I mean, you know what it is. And if you've got it, I wish I was you right now.
Yep.
For
Justin
sure.
Constantine.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell that is. What's the fucking...
Can I ask a question?
You can ask a question.
While you were just doing your thing, I happened to see something in the background there. Just in front of your tall Batman there, is that a copy of Super Sons?
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, no, my friend. This is...
oh, okay. I don't know.
Spider-Man and Moon Knight.
I don't know why. I just pictured like the Super Sons logo in the white space between Spider-Man and Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I could see John Kent's face. I don't know why.
Fair
Maybe it's just the angle and the lighting. I don't know.
enough. This is my next Marvel team-up book that I'm going to be reading.
Hell yeah.
Cloak and Dagger and the New Mutants. Man, I loved Cloak and Dagger books back in the day when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I gobbled them up like crazy. And I'm also getting into these. I'm cracking some open this weekend thanks to Brandon, who was downsizing his collection as he was moving. I have a whole bunch of Shade the Changing Man, and if you've never read this stuff before, you should read this stuff. It's absolutely great. It really is. Shade the Changing Man. I've been waiting to be able to sit down and blow through it. It's older, it is, but it's really good.
Sorry, I'm getting myself distracted now. Yeah, no, that looks like a good book.
It definitely is. I am gonna pause here for a commercial.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, it looks like we're back from commercial.
Hell yeah. Welcome back. Howdy doody. So, I had a fun weekend.
That was really loud.
Sorry.
Why was that? Why was that? Oh, did you not hear that?
Hear what?
Okay.
I thought you were
Okay.
talking about me.
No, I wasn't talking about you. I did a sound bite, but apparently it didn't go through, and that's a good thing because it was like obnoxiously loud.
All right, so yeah, I had a fun weekend. I went to Fan Expo in Toronto on Saturday, where I got to meet one of my all-time favorite creators, top three, most likely number two, if not number one, Mr. Peter J. Tomasi,
Absolutely.
who I was so thrilled to meet. I got him to sign my Green Lantern Corps Omnibus, and I picked up this little book I already gave a little look at, Super Sons Collection. Picked up at his table, which he also signed very handsomely. Thank you, Mr. Tomasi. Class act. I also got him to take a picture with my Plastic Man figure.
Yes, yes. Rob, I have to tell you, it brought me great joy watching you take pictures of your Plastic Man just traveling along with you.
Yep. I wanted to take more, but I was running out of ideas. And I had a kid. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But that was fun. When I pulled it, there was a guy waiting behind me, just like kind of listening in on me talking to Peter Tomasi.
Yeah.
And just as I was about to leave, I said, "Just one last thing, if you'll indulge me, for like a photo blog I'm doing. You take a picture with Plastic Man and I pull out the figure," and they both burst out laughing. And like, that is awesome. Yes, I would love to. I always think it's
Heck
great
yeah.
to make that meeting memorable for everyone involved. Right?
Definitely.
Because these creators, they're doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? And they're meeting the same people. I'm not saying that that's a problem, but like, if they're sitting at that table for 4 days straight and all they're doing is sign, thank you, yes, thank you very much, like, that can get a little dull. I want to bring some fun to the interaction.
Yeah, a
And,
little
like,
giggle.
yeah,
Ain't gonna hurt no.
exactly.
Can't do nothing but
That's
help.
what I hope to do all the time.
Unless it's William Shatner, don't do that.
Yeah, I might get
Don't even make eye contact.
yelled at. I don't know. That's if you could even actually make eye contact with Shatner. He's probably looking everywhere but people's faces.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason for it.
Yeah. But oddly enough, I hear my dad had a story about Martin Short that was much the same.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like Martin Short he's again
no, wait,
Canadian, like Shatner.
Yeah, no,
they're nice guys, but they're full of themselves.
Martin Short, 100%. That doesn't surprise me that he's pompous.
Yeah.
That's how I've always pictured him, like completely pompous in real life.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like his is turned up, and out of the two of them, him and Steve Martin, I believe Steve Martin, though he comes across as less so, is actually probably twice as worse.
From what I
Twice
hear,
as bad.
Steve Martin is not twice as bad, but he is like that. But he's not worse than Martin Short.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a little disappointed to know that that theory was gone. They're wrong.
I do hear Steve Martin will be a little nicer about things. Martin Short, like, he was nice, but he just bought into his own hype. You know, that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
it's
I
not
guess
like
he
he's the
doesn't hide it
complete
in his
dick.
accent.
It's just that he believes himself to be a massive star and should act like so. Right. And to be fair, for a long time he was a pretty big name in comedy. But like, there's no need to just not be nice to everyone. Like, I feel like I'm putting it out of context, but hopefully you get what I mean. He's not a dick. He's just not nice about things either.
Right. He's just exceptionally full of himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's pompous and arrogant, but he's not rude.
His ego barely fits inside doors.
Right.
Yeah.
He carries with him Crisco, and he steps in through sideways.
God, I haven't heard the word Crisco in fucking like a decade and a half.
Right? I just dated myself.
Is
Jesus. He was like,
that even on the shelf anymore?
that white hair is not dyed, folks. This is
for
not a
for
fashion
anybody under
choice.
the age of 30 listening, Crisco was a food shortener.
Yes, it's a
And if you don't know what a
vegetable
food
shortening.
shortener is, it's a type of
It's
lard,
yeah, well,
realistically.
yeah, it's synthetic lard, so I mean, it's primarily plastic if you look
Yeah,
at the chemical breakdown of it.
yeah,
But yeah, a long time ago, used to use it for cooking, like
yeah.
all the time.
And if you weren't using it for cooking, you were using it to grease stuff up,
Yep, for
like
cooking.
Martin Short's ego.
No, for sure, and his
Yeah,
head to get through the hill.
exactly.
Ta-da.
Yeah. Um, so also on my list, right after Mr. Tomasi, I went over to line up because you did have to line up. He had a line. He's that popular, Mr. Jeff Johns.
Yeah, of course.
I had to go see Jeff Johns.
Yeah, I mean, he
I
doesn't just write comic books either. I mean, he's big time. He does
exactly,
TV shows and shit.
yeah. Um, like the whole group was there for, and I did pick up a kind of a free primer issue for Ghost Machine.
Oh,
The whole Ghost
nice.
Machine crew was there, and they were all together. So Tomasi was in the same line as Jeff Johns. They were all there. Um,
Did you?
Brad
Oh, you
Brad
probably
Meltzer was
didn't have
supposed to be
any
there.
Ghost Machine, did you?
No, I had stuff from all these guys I wanted signed already. So um,
Yeah.
I wanted to pick some stuff up, but I had priorities before I could get
Eh,
the Ghost Machine stuff.
You
But it
have to,
looks
man, or else
really
you'll go
good.
crazy.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, that's how
I
I
got
am.
my Green Lantern Corps omnibus signed by Tomasi, and I wanted to get my copy of Batman and Robin number 18, silent
Y-
issue. Could not fucking
Yes.
find it. No matter how hard I looked, I spent days looking for this thing. Can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. So unfortunately, that did not get signed. That'll have to wait for another time. But for Jeff Johns, I got my copy of JLA JSA: The Tornado's Path, which was co-written with Brad Meltzer, who was also supposed to be there, but he unfortunately had to cancel for whatever reason.
Hey, you want to hear something? Now, Batman and Robin number 18 is a great book. Absolutely great issue. I love it. You love it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a really great story. But did you know that they didn't pay the letterer at all?
How dare they? You joke, but I'm pretty sure there had to have been some lettering in there because there were sound effects.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's yeah.
Damn.
But well played, good sir. Well played. So I don't have it over here, but Jeff Johns, as I was coming up to his table, he had one of those little, like, just cardboard cards that a lot of people doing signings will just like use to make sure the marker's working, like scribble on it a little bit to make sure like get the marker primed and ready, and whatnot, right? So he
Right.
had it over, and as I was coming up to the table, he was already doodling something, looked like a little Joker drawing, right? And when I got to the table, I dealt with the lady who was taking the money, so I had to pay first. So I dealt with her. I talked to her, got it all sorted out. And by the time I was done, he had taken my book and he was signing it. And then he slipped the doodle in the book. And the lady just gave him a little "oh you" slap, like a slap on the shoulder. And like I was like, "oh my god, thank you." And he
Right?
slid the book back to me, and I will show it right now. Signed by Jeff Johns with the Lightning Saga. Did I say the
Heck
Tornado's
yeah.
Path? It's a Lightning Saga. Little
Yeah.
Joker doodle signed by Jeff Johns. It actually looks really good.
It does. It does.
It's
I saw the pictures.
so
Good.
cool. I couldn't believe it. So that just made my day. But if that didn't make my day enough, I went around to almost every booth that was there until I just couldn't spend any more on them. I picked up a whole bunch of Captain Carrot.
Oh yeah.
like a lot of Captain Carrot. I went around to every booth and I said, "Long shot question, do you have any Captain Carrot?" The first 4 people said no. They just knew right away. One guy said maybe, and he found some. And then he pointed me to there's another booth that's got like 15 long boxes. Talk to him. I went there. He had so much. Almost had the whole run.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Lucky you,
couldn't
dude.
believe it.
Awesome.
Like I only picked up a few issues because I didn't have money to buy the whole thing. And plus, it gives me something to hunt later.
Right.
At
Right.
the end of the day, though, it's funny. I saw this because I was talking to you about this as well. This book was a huge part of my childhood. Not this one in particular, but these stories. And this was Mini Marvels.
Oh right. Yes, you were
Yeah.
talking to me about those, suggesting those for my kids.
Yeah, they're great reads. I found this book kind of just in passing by accident. I saw it. It caught my eye. I'm like, I need to fucking get this. It was like $5. Like, hell yeah. This was my childhood. And it's just so much fun. I implore you to check it out too. This first story alone, that was in the giant size Mini Marvels comic that I had, Paperboy Blues. And the whole thing with Mini Marvels, it's all the Marvel superheroes, but they're kids,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And in this, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is working for the Daily Bugle on a newspaper route. He delivers the paper. And his whole thing is he has to deliver it to all like these other heroes and villains, but he has run-ins with Norman Osborn as a Green Goblin who is an adult and hates Spider-Man. So Green Goblin the whole time is just kind of messing with his route and blowing up the newspapers. So a lot of fun and hijinks happens there.
Nice.
You gotta check it out. It's hilarious.
This is what I would have John sign, like if I was ever able to meet him.
Yeah. I
It
had that in
is-
the bag, but I could only get one side.
It it's absolutely pristine. There's I don't know about getting trades or anything like graded or anything, but there's zero wrong with this thing.
Yeah.
Like every corner is perfect. There's no bind marks. The bind's never been broken, and it's
You're
coming
telling me
up
you
real
haven't
quick.
read it?
Oh, I've read Blackest Night many times.
Yeah, but not
I have
this.
not gone through this particular copy of it, no. And I'm not gonna hold on forever.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that within the next couple of years I might be able to get to a con or an expo and maybe get some stuff signed for that. That would be awesome. So it's like one of my wish lists. I might talk shit about Jeff John's guidelines, but I mean Blackest Night is one of the greatest comic book storylines of all time.
Which one?
Blackest Night. And
Oh,
I'll
God,
fight
yeah.
somebody.
I will too. Like and I'm not even just saying that as a Green Lantern fan. I think I've said
No,
it
I'm
many
not
times
either.
before that Blackest Night is realistically the pinnacle of comic book events. It is so well done.
Yep, it's incredibly so.
Yeah.
Incredibly so.
It has all
Absolutely.
the typical tropes of an event that you'd imagine. Like it's got tie-in issues, it's got crossover with ongoing books with the Green Lantern series, but they're done so well, and they're not all that necessary to read. But if you do read them, they add so much more to the ambiance of the story. It's so
Yes.
fucking well done.
Man, when I
It's not really a bad tie-in in
It's
the
like-
entire lot.
no, when Blackest Night was coming out, like I was in dire need of money. I bought everything. If
Yeah.
it said Blackest Night on that issue, I was gobbling it up. Even books that I was not reading.
Yeah,
It's like this is part of this story. It was that good that I had to get every last little drop of it. And I've never
Yeah.
had a story that hit me like that since the death of Superman. And if I'm being honest, I really can't think of an event since then that I've. Wait, I'm blanking on the date. What about No Man's Land? When did that come out?
that was late 90s.
Okay,
If I'm
so
not mistaken.
anyway, those are
Maybe early
the
2000s.
pinnacles of comic book events and stories for me. in many different ways, like when it spans such a large story. You know what I'm saying? Like the big huge deals. And Blackest Night is probably the best one. I just
Yeah. So it took that
it's
comic
that
trope
good.
that grew throughout the 80s and 90s of death as a revolving door. These characters could just come night to life on a whim. And it took that and said, no, death has stakes. And
Yeah.
here he is. He's coming to collect. Y'all came
Right.
back to life, and he didn't like that. Right?
Yep. Or I always took it more along the lines of, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I always just took it more along the lines of, it was a response to that whole comic book. Did your hero die? Well, don't worry, he'll come back. Well, what if he comes back, but not like you were expecting?
Yeah.
And it just that man, it was just so good. Gobble 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 gobble.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite, like, quote unquote 0 hour moments in the book was when Black Rings went out to all the heroes that are currently alive but were previously dead,
Yes.
and just sought them out because they still have a connection to being dead, according to
Right.
Necron. And
Loophole.
yeah, like that was like, oh shit, okay, they're fucked now because like half the big hitters are just Black Lanterns. What the hell? Yeah, that was so good. But that's a story for another day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whenever I can get Robin Brandon back on track and being able to lock down a day where we can cover events like that.
Yeah, I think we should honestly just jump into Blackest Night because I think all three of us have so much to talk about with it.
Right, but okay, here's the problem though, because like I am that guy. Like if we're doing Blackest Night, that's a large undertaking, but I would totally be all aboard, um, doing every issue, all of the tie-ins. We did Day of Judgment way back in the day, and uh, you guys covered. I want to say it's a 4 issue series, but it might be 8. I think it's 4 though.
I think
But
it's
anyway,
4, yeah.
you think, and then maybe it's 8 with the tie-ins. And Brendan's like, I didn't even read the tie-ins. I'm like,
Yeah.
how can you not read? If it's a good story, I want all of it.
Yeah,
I guess it's just
I
I
mean,
don't want to
that's-
skip any.
it depends whether the tie-ins are necessary, and we know, especially recently, there are some big stories where the tie-ins have no fucking point.
That's like where the line is. It's like
Yeah.
the modern shit is just like they threw a label on it. But back in the day, back to Black Lantern especially, Death of Superman, everything had something tied to that main story, and it was done really well. Give me that all day long.
I mean,
Nightfall,
I
No
could
Man's
even
Land.
say like Flashpoint though was just 2 years after Blackest Night, and while the tie-ins were all pretty good, I wouldn't say all of them were really necessary to read. It was all world building, but like if you were just reading the main story, you weren't really missing anything if you weren't reading any of the other stuff.
Right.
Right. And with Blackest Night, if you're just reading the main story, you're not really missing anything from the tie-ins either, besides really good fucking stories
Besides
with
really
a lot
good
of
fucking
stakes,
stories.
a lot of emotion, and a lot of forgotten
Oh
characters.
God, some of those
Yeah.
little 2 issue tie-ins go tear.
Yeah.
That shit jerk tears right out of your eyes, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the Blackest Night Batman 1, 2, and 3. All of at the time when Dick Grayson was Batman, and it was all about John and Mary. And like, oh,
Yeah.
shit, okay.
Yeah, that shit.
Yeah.
That shit went deep.
Yeah, that had some interesting stuff to it.
to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's enough about Blackest Night. We'll figure that out. Maybe we could make a mini series out of it. Just do like
Something.
specials
Anytime.
here. We'll figure it out. I really
We're
want
all here until we're not, so we'll get to it eventually.
exactly. But with that in mind, it is 6:30. We've started so late. I think we should get into our books for today.
Our books for today.
Yes.
Oh shit! Were we supposed to read comics? I'm just kidding.
Well, shit.
Fearless leader, you have the power.
I have the power.
Yes.
I say no
He-Man
further.
is badass.
All right, so our first book is Absolute Power Task Force 7, number 5. Speaking of tie-in books, this one is focused on the Flash, Absolute Power Velocity. Holy crap. This is written by Alex Packnadell with art and color from Pete Woods and letters from Dave Sharp with cover from Pete Woods. All right, so as I mentioned, this one is all about the Flash and the Amazo, probably codenamed Velocity, that is taken on
It better
Speed
be.
Force abilities.
Did
right?
we?
Because it
Never
was,
mind.
I think it was just last week you were saying there should be a speedster called Velocity.
Yes, and I need to go back and re-listen to our interview with Jeremy Adams and see if I may have asked about the thing, because it's been a thing, and I'm gonna go anyway.
Yeah.
I want to go see it. It's like, oh, did I say that? I may have said that.
All right, so Iris West is showing up to work as reports are happening all over the world of just strange happenings in the midst of speedsters racing across the planet. And these speedsters are none other than Barry Allen and the Amazo named Velocity. They end up running all across the world, Barry being chased by this Amazo, staying just out of his reach until they reach the Flash Museum, where this Amazo does get his hands on Barry, but Barry is able to phase through his grip and in below a couple of floors. Amazo has this Velocity has absorbed most of the other speedster's abilities, including Jay West, and is able to use Jay's super strength boost and smash his way through the floor, because this Amazo has not mastered the ability of phasing. It's an ability that, while chasing Barry, it is determined to learn. Barry, knowing that he is basically out of options, decides to race into the Speed Force, and Velocity follows him. And this is a domain where Velocity basically doesn't have much control or power at all. Barry's able to knock him right in the face, breaking the faceplate and damaging one of the eyes. But Barry still can only do so much against it. Velocity then goes into its data banks and relives certain memories of Barry's that he had absorbed to try and figure out this phasing ability, but still does not have it 100%. Meanwhile, Barry has sped right out of the Speed Force and using his Speed Aura to technically freeze time, has grabbed Iris and basically given her a last kiss and said goodbye. Then time keeps going, and Iris realizes what's happened. Barry is then off running again for his life, but Velocity at this point has decided he's learning a lot from chasing Barry, so maybe he will just let Barry run on so he can learn all he can from Barry Allen for the time being. Meanwhile, Steve Trevor on Gamora is still infiltrating Amanda Waller's base and has seen this portal that she has built that we just saw last issue. It is now active, and it is a portal into the multiverse. And what this portal opens and brings forth is none other than various characters we last saw in a little book called War for Earth 3. That would be the Crime Syndicate, among other people that were part of Amanda Waller's Suicide Squad at the time. Namely, God, what the hell's her name? The vampire. Nocturna.
Nocturna, yeah.
And even the Connor Kent Superboy clone. whose name I forget, but basically became the new Ultraman there, or Reverse Superboy, Bizarro Superboy,
Bizarro Superboy, I think.
Bizarro Superboy, I guess. He had a name too, but I don't remember what his name was. And various members of the crime syndicate are there too. Black Siren, Johnny Quick, Power Ring or Emerald Knight, the John Stewart analog, and Superwoman, otherwise known as Donna Troy, are there, as well as an Etrigan, but I don't remember
Yeah.
that Etrigan. I
Oh,
don't know
because
where he came from.
and it's really curious because, like, okay, so coming from Earth 3,
Yeah,
they're the complete opposite
yeah,
of who they are here, right?
yeah,
But Etrigan like doesn't have a leaning. Like
yeah.
he's like right down the fucking middle. So what kind of Etrigan is it that we're looking at here? What would be the opposite of neutral? I mean,
Probably still neutral. I mean, like, Etrigan, as neutral as he is, doesn't inherently do evil things. If
or
anything, as much as he's a
or good
demon,
things.
he's doing more good than he is bad, right? More often than not, he is fighting against Morgan Le Fay, he's fighting against other demons, and he's doing things to help as opposed to maim, right? As much as Etrigan is a demon and doesn't inherently go out of his way to do good things, instead he's got a lot of enemies that happen to be doing bad things,
He keeps a
right?
lot of people in check that could fuck the order of the universe up.
Exactly. I imagine this Etrigan is just that little skewed on the opposite side, where like he wants to fuck things up.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's not good. He has way too big of a sword to want to fuck things up.
Yeah. However, like this Etrigan kind of also looks like a Superman.
In a
So
way.
I'm very, very confused as to what this Etrigan's about. But if we all remember from the short-lived War for Earth 3 miniseries, Amanda Waller was last on Earth 3, basically planning to take over the planet and invoke her will there. Um,
Yep.
and as it seems, the crime syndicate and Amanda Waller have a working relationship, and maybe a professional courtesy towards each other, because Amanda's whole plan with the crime syndicate is, as she calls it, an insurance policy. That
She's got an
if
insurance policy against them. Yeah.
well, no, she's even calling them the insurance policy against the heroes if the heroes do manage to turn things around and stop her Amazos. Um, if the Amazos fail, then she's got the crime syndicate to come in and finish the
Ah.
job, which that's fucking nuts. And I don't think Amanda really realized. Well, obviously, we don't know still what happened on Earth 3 after the end of that series between her and the crime syndicate, but realistically, Amanda, I think, is still failing to realize just how untrustworthy these people are. Hi, Mia Kinsley, 24 on Kick. How you doing? We're just here talking comics.
Like we always do.
Yep. So
Um,
this was a very interesting issue. I got the vibe that they were, at least Alex Packingdale was probably channeling a certain Zuranar into this Amazo, but I couldn't quite figure out which one it was. It was a very detective oriented one, so I want to say it was maybe the Arkham series games, but who knows? I think I'm done trying to figure that out.
Honestly, you might be onto something there because it was very detective, like learn the facts kind of based. So that actually makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm voting with you on that one, even if it's not true.
yeah.
If
Like I don't know if
this,
that's even going to make a difference or have any point to the story at all. I think it's just a fun
probably
little
won't.
thing for some people that give a shit, like I do. Um,
right
yeah,
here.
just a fun little Easter egg, like for people that were reading Batman. You're like, oh well, this was happening, and like this is here. Um, it could, like, we don't know. Like they put some emphasis on it in a couple of these issues. Of, well, this person's talking very Victorian for some reason. Okay, well, why do you
Right.
need to point that out if it's not going to make a difference? Right? That's where I'm coming from here.
But the good writer is going to acknowledge that these are all supposed to be varied Batman from different universes.
Yeah.
So I choose to believe it if it's written a specific kind of way, like this one is just like full out logic, quick to understand everything.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna, if I see it, I'm gonna acknowledge it, and I think you're right about this one for sure.
Like it was a very detective oriented um, version. I don't know which Batman that could be, but just based on the ones that I know we saw in Chip Zdarsky's Batman, I want to say it was the Arkham games.
Yeah, it's either that or it's like computer thon.
Yeah, yeah, like that could be too.
uh,
Um, as for the whole issue, though, it was a nice little journey through Barry Allen's life. Realistically, you got to see a whole bunch of flashbacks of various moments in his life, including some stuff that we saw even from Joshua Williamson's run. I think it was Joshua Williamson's run with Flash Year One. Basically, they did a
uh,
little Year One story there.
yes.
That was an interesting little tale. So that was cool. That they take actual stories we've seen and give us memories from that um, to kind of push the story along. I like that level of continuity that they acknowledge the past um, and not just forget everything ever happened. Uh, my only gripe with this, and we'll be talking about it in our next book, is this is happening concurrently with everything else. Um, this velocity has taken the powers of every other Speed Force user that we know of, um, except for maybe Wally West, again, that we know of. Because Wally, realistically, in his current book, is lost somewhere in space time, or wherever the fuck he is, in another dimension. But in that book, the rest of the Flash family have their powers. See, this is where continuity falls apart.
Well,
How are they both happening at the same time? How does Amazo have all the powers of the Flash family, but the Flash family in this book right here are also running around? And we know they're happening at the same time because they had an absolute power tie-in in the Flash. This is where it falls apart.
yeah, and unfortunately, I mean that's the biggest problem um, that I had with the whole book as well. It's like I really like the art and the colors, defined. It's bright and colorful, detailed. I did enjoy it. It was a little different from what I'm used to seeing, like Flash being drawn as for the last little while anyway. I thought it was an interesting direction to go in. It's very much a Barry
Mhm.
story. It's the majority of it is a good one, focusing
Yeah.
on how he learned and how he taught others the Speed Force. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Him remembering what he taught and using that to shuck and jive through time um, at his own leisure. But dude is like just seconds fucking behind him. Um,
Yeah.
I've been saying for a while now. I feel like something's gonna happen to the Flash family. Like, is Barry gonna trap Velocity in the Speed Force or something? Like, get gobbled up again? Is he taking another 20-year vacation? I mean, it sounded like a really
Yeah.
really big goodbye to me, and it looked like Iris thought so too. Like he was telling her
Yeah.
that, the whole thing that she kept on saying is that Wally, or excuse me, uh, uh, um, that he always makes his way back to her. And I think that this was him saying, this time I'm not going to.
Yeah. Like there's a good chance. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Velocity has the powers of all of the Speed Force users. It's said that in
Yeah.
here. I just don't. Which issue is at fault? That's the problem that I had.
I, I'm gonna say it's the main series because it was said early on. I think it was even like Absolute Power issue 1 or something where they showed this Amazo taking the powers of Speed Force users in the actual book. So it's not even the fault of this book or the Flash book. It's just the fault of Absolute Power.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
So
like Alex Packendale was just writing what he was given, and what he was given, not his fault. But the story he wrote, I would say, was pretty fucking
right,
good.
and so that's where
Yeah,
that's what I was ultimately getting at is like there's no judging them independently is how I have to do it. So I'm going to judge this without taking the other book into consideration, and that leaves me giving an 8 out of 10. Um,
yeah. I'll give it an 8.5.
I'm not thrilled about seeing the dipshit league, but here we are.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I wanted to. I couldn't. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what Josh says about this."
I,
Because he hates the crime.
I had to
syndicate.
write that statement down so that I kept it to just that because
Dipshit
I like
league.
the dipshit league. Yep, you know I could go off on Earth 3 shit like period, and I shouldn't dedicate that
Yeah.
much time to that useless shit.
Yeah. All right. With
that,
we will now speed on over to our next book, which is coincidentally The Flash.
oh my god, like how did that even happen?
You know, it's almost like we planned it.
Indeed. The Flash family is reunited, and it feels so good. Written by Simon Spurrier with art by Roman Perez and Vesco Georgiev and colors by Matt Herms. Lettering came from Hassan Atsmani El-Hau with that cover from Perez as well. It starts worded as fancily as possible and with really super cool art. It's saying reality is about to die and Wally West is the important yet insignificant bullet. A bullet that has been stripped of everything, hovering at what they call the event horizon of eternity and feeling nothing. That's a really poetic way of saying like he's right there at the crack where reality exists and does not exist, and they want to shoot it right through it. So that's fun. Meanwhile, all the entire Flash family are together, save Wally. Jai can suddenly feel his dad again. Because he's so close to the crevice and he's so close to reality again, his son is able to pick him up. The problem is that Wally is on the highest end of the vibrational frequencies of the Speed Force and no one knows how to get there. Well, for half a second anyway, then they all look to the Zen Master, Max Mercury. He lays down the rules in as simple terms as possible. The intention isn't to break the barrier, but rather embrace it. Breathe in the lightning. That sounds like dangerous advice. Rise and never stop. The rest all seems typical Flash stuff. I don't know about breathing lightning, though. Yikes. Linda, no longer having her powers, goes Zen mode as well. Remembering how to tap into the Speed Force, she sends a projection of herself through it. Not the first time we've seen somebody do that. And relates to Wally how Abracadabra had wiped her attachments to everything, metaphorically threw them away, and in that sense they were able to find Wally when he was at his lowest. Sometimes it's not always Wally that finds her, sometimes it's her that finds him as well, and that's how she knew it had to be her to snap him out of his erased whiteboard moment there. To save Wally and bring him home, it's going to take the whole Flash family, though. They are able to run with Wally for as long as they can before dropping down to the lowest frequencies, giving him the speed that he needs to get himself home. They're able to get there because Thunderheart gave the Speed Force juice to Grodd and Mirror Master, and they distracted the Archangels, but only for a moment, like maybe 3. They quickly set Grodd tumbling back through the lower frequencies of time, which is eventually landing in Earth, or, maybe not. But Mirror Master, they, on a whim, just decided that he was going to be unwritten from history. Mirror Master will not even be remembered anymore. He's gone. As Wally nears his destination, it's also the trigger. Time begins to die. Some feel it in the Omniverse, some don't, but it is slowly happening. As Wally keeps running, hoping to catch this metaphor, he was the bullet, and he thinks he can stop himself. Ultimately, that's what we're looking at. Barry happens to show up tells him to cut the poison out, and he does, slicing evil out of eternity. Um, which I'm assuming is a way to say that he wounded the ability to kill time. Um, what that means for either of them, we don't know. We see them barely holding on to this crack that they cut open with this huge, huge, massive wave of black energy pouring out. Um, I'm wondering. I'm wondering if, like, even though that part of with absolute power, I'm wondering is even though that part of the powers being gone stuff, if we put that part aside, it almost is as if Barry ran to Wally. Did you pick that up at all?
Well, I figured they were all running to Wally.
Barry should have been running from the. Anyway, I'm trying to make chronological sense of it. I need to not try and do that. Most of the art was good.
What would he be running from?
Velocity.
Oh, yeah. That's but like, no. That happened. In
I liked how they acknowledged what was currently happening in the main line when they showed a panel of Waller and Green Arrow together. Most of the art was good. The other style, I'm not ever gonna get used to seeing that. But I think it read really well. The action was good, and Barry showing up at the end to spill his feelings out. I thought that was really good. I'm gonna give it a 7.75 out of 10.
This might have been my favorite issue of the run so far. While a lot of the background stuff with the whatever's going on with the arc angles and time, speed, force, whatever, collapsing or dying or spitting on things, I don't know still. That's besides the point. Speed Force going hot to that thing. Like,
I said hot tooey. I wasn't. Oh God. Ugh. Sorry.
You did.
My bad.
But you didn't. You talked twice.
Yes, I wasn't trying to do
you didn't
that.
say it right.
You're such a pervert. What's wrong with you, boy?
It's become a meme. It's become
You're
a
a meme.
If anybody's the pervert, is the woman that said it on the video.
Yeah, that's...
But at the same time, the question was about that, so I'm not even going to call her the pervert. She's answering the question. But that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about hot program. Besides all that stuff with the Speed Force, because I still don't fully understand what's going on, the stuff with the Flash family was bomb. That was so touching and heartwarming. From like the kids were like, I feel my dad again. He's here. Like I can feel his presence. Like we gotta go find him. And then the other kids showing up. Yeah, let's go get him. And like everybody looking at Max, like, okay, let's do this. Like,
it's like, anybody know how to do this? What about that Zen guy?
Okay, everybody gather around, hold hands.
Like, yeah. We can't science this shit. Best we got fucking Witch Doctor Flash. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love Max Mercury. I want one of his figurines so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think the McFarlane one is out now.
It is, but I have to prioritize.
Yeah. But beyond all that, even just when they were taking turns racing with Wally, as Wally was racing to stop the quote unquote bullet, and they were all running with him and giving him encouraging words like, "We're with you, Wall. Like, we're here, buddy. Don't falter. Like, I believe in you," and all that. Like, you were a great mentor. It was all great. And then the coup de grace at the end of Barry and Wally together, at the end, racing together, the two Flashes, and it.
Uh-oh.
What is that?
It sounds like somebody's dog is a little pissed. You got a dog that's a little pissed?
Okay. It is a. I don't have a dog. So I could hear something. I was like, what the fuck is that? Because I had my headphones on. So it is
It sounds like a dog. I hear.
Okay. Sounds like a dog. Yeah. Somebody's not having a good time.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like a piece of machinery breaking down. Like I can't handle that right now. If that breaks down, so will I.
Oh no!
But
We can't have that, Robert.
no. Where the fuck?
You were there.
Oh yeah. So Barry and Wally running together and having that moment of like that almost father-son moment.
Yeah.
Of Mentor and Ward, of just together, and ending with Barry like there's so many things he wants to say, to apologize for, to tell Wally, but all he has time for, all he can muster is, "I'm proud of you." Oh my god, Daddy! It was so nice. Oh, it was beautiful, and then just to see them together, cutting through whatever time force that is just it was beautiful. So this issue is going to get an 8.75 for me.
Right on. I
Yeah.
did. I liked it, man. Did it tug on your heartstrings?
It
Did
did.
it tug on your bowstrings?
It
It
did.
did.
It did.
Wang.
That's our next book, Green Arrow number 15, Ticket to Destruction, Absolute Power Tie-In, quote unquote, Get Ivo. A lot of references here. But this is written by Joshua Williamson with art from M.I.K. Nevelpen, colors from Romulo Fajardo Jr., and letters from Troy Pateri. And the cover you see before you from Phil Hester, Andy Parks, and Ryan Cody. We open up on what is both a flashback and a present day moment. A moment that I'm super stoked about. We see Oliver in the woods somewhere, digging a box out of the dirt. And this box, for those that remember his Rebirth series and how it ended, is supposedly the box that is, as given to him by Martian Manager and told him, is the key to destroying the Justice League should the need arise. Because the whole point there, after the whole debacle of each member of the Justice League has something to end the other one, or end another member, the Justice League can basically end the world if they need to, but they need something to end the Justice League if it ever needs to, and that person, according to Martian Manager, was Oliver Queen. And at the end of the book, if you remember, Oliver was wrestling with the decision, the weight of this box for many issues, and at the end of that run, very last few pages, he opened the box, and there was nothing in it. And he was like, well, what the John? What the hell am I supposed to do with this now? And then he left it behind because he was getting chased by, like, fucking soldiers or something. I don't remember what it was now. I think he was under arrest for something. And he left it in the rain, and then a little dot on top of the box started glowing red. And that was the last we ever saw of it until today. The box looks a little different, and now there's something inside the box that glows green. We don't know what the fuck's going on. Clearly, they've retconned a bit of the end there. Either that or there's more that we haven't seen. But, like, I'm hoping that gets explained because I was really hyped about that box, about the end of that series, and then it just got canceled. I was not happy. But here we are. I think this is actually the next Green Arrow book since Rebirth.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, so this would be the natural next step. But we'll see. That is the last we see of Oliver for now, as he gets a call that Bright on the Amanda Waller squad has taken a task force jet, apparently at the on the orders of Oliver Queen, which Oliver did not do that. Then we jump to the Arrow family, who are falling out of the sky. He is. They are falling out of the sky in the desert, being chased by a Tomorrow Woman. They all use parachute arrows because fucking A. I love that. Roy just like parachute arrows. And like every single one of them just has a parachute arrow.
Well, almost every set. Red
Yeah.
Canary, don't. She's
Except
like,
because
guys, I
yeah,
don't use arrows.
those. But Red Arrow says Red Canary, and like that's so fitting.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was cool. Then Tomorrow Woman lands, is gripping Roy by the neck, but then, um, excuse me, Connor steps in as he remembers Tomorrow Woman because they tried out for the JLA at the same time. However, she got in before him, and he's able to talk her down until she gets a little bit of a glitch in her own systems and falls unconscious. So they take her, planning now to go back to Ivo, but then they see a task force ship taking off as they realize they've got Ivo, and they're heading away. And Roy tells the team to get back to their own ship. But then he realizes Leanne and Jade are nowhere to be found, so he gets on comms and finds out that they are already on the task force ship, where they find Bright and Ivo. So the Arrow family are now in pursuit in the air, and they all latch on to the task force ship and go to make their way inside, except then a whole bunch of task force goons with jetpacks come flying out of the top and start shooting at them. Meanwhile, inside, Professor Ivo is talking with Bright, or is talking with Jade, actually. Jade, Cheshire, if you're unfamiliar, said, "We're here to rescue you so you can help us stop the Amazos." But then Ivo has a counter offer that he will pay her a bunch of money to betray her ex and get him as far away from all this as possible. And she says, "Deal."
Right.
Wow. Fuck you too. Yeah. Even like Leanne was like, "Mom, fuck." But then Bright steps in and catches them and gets really bright and blinds them. And then heads up to the roof and shows Roy, who is taking out the last of the Rocket Goons. He's got his lover, his ex, or his daughter. Which one will you save? And Jade wakes up and then kicks him in the face. But then Bright says, "I guess your ex made your choice for you. Say goodbye to your daughter." But then he gets a green arrow right in the shoulder as Oliver shows up in a jetpack and says, "Get the hell away from my granddaughter." And next issue will be Green Arrow versus Bright round 2. So that was a pretty fun issue. I thought so. I liked it. I'm very curious about the box, if they're going to continue what was built up from the previous series, or if they're just going to ignore what happened there because nobody really knows, and they're going to build a new story around it. Because that whole moment of Oliver opening the box and it being empty was supposed to be part of a larger story, but the book got canceled anyway, so the writers had to abandon it. And I don't think that's how they wanted it to go anyway.
Well, I mean, it could just be, that he's assuming that it got left there and forgotten about, so that's why he was kind of, come on, let's see where this is at.
Yeah. And, like, let's
Hoping
pick up
to find
this breadcrumb that we know people remember.
Right.
And, like, let's do something with it. And I'm all for that. If you have to change it to make sense, you have to change it to make sense. I would have loved to have seen what that red light was about, but like, the only people that know what that red light was about were the people that were writing the book at the time, and they aren't here. And
maybe
that was like 6
light.
years ago. So, yeah. So that's neither here nor there. This, all in all, for an Arrow family book, was really good. For a Green Arrow book, was a lot of fun. And we see Oliver show up at the end. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, because the Arrow family have been chasing him down, and now he shows up. Are they going to mince words with him? What's going to happen next? I've got so many questions, and I'm so stoked to see what's going to happen next issue with Ollie and his family. Yeah, and Connor, like, coming into the Green Arrow role just like he never forgot it. It was so good. So I'm stoked about this issue. I'm giving it a 9.
Right on. Right on. The box is the one thing that really got me in this issue. I did remember it from the last series. I'm hoping that it does have some hat tipping to it.
Yeah.
I hope he opens up the box and there's nothing there, and the red light comes on. That's what I'm hoping happens, and then we get to see either what was, I mean, probably not what was originally intended, but at least it is tipping the hat back to where that happened, and that unfortunately got canceled series, which I thought wasn't that bad. I thought it was good. Um, but anyway, back to this issue. I can't say that it annoyed me. There's nothing ostensibly wrong with it. I haven't gotten into this story so far, so it's just like the culmination isn't hitting quite. Um, I give it a 7. I'm not shitting on it. It's just not there for me. If the action was well paced, let me put it to you that way. The action was well paced. This is probably one of Williamson's best issues of Green Arrow, if not the best issue of Green Arrow, and it's done really well. I hate Blight. I wish someone would kill him.
Well, that Ollie might next issue. Did he just like show up, or did they already reveal like who Bright is? I don't remember now.
They haven't revealed who Bright is, but for some reason, because he says that in my multiverse, Ivo had been pulled apart at the seams, and his bottom jaw is just making me think of not Deadshot.
Yeah, I know who the
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport, yeah.
So I can't help but wonder if this is a Bloodsport from a different universe.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's even like maybe an evil Oliver Queen.
Oh, that'd be fucked up, dude.
Yeah. Like Earth 3 Ollie.
Yeah, oh?
Yeah.
That would be messed up.
Yeah.
Like, where's the arrows? You'd have to have arrows still.
I mean, like his body, like with the whole thing with the skull, like you were saying, reminds you of Bloodsport. I was thinking like, because I was getting the same vibe, but at the same time, it almost seems a little too on the nose. What if that's actually his mouth?
That's true.
And his body is just burnt to a crisp. And like, what if Oliver on Earth 3, when he crashed in, like this? I know he was on a boat, but like, what if when he survived on the island, his body was burnt by fire? So he couldn't use bow and arrow, and instead had to just learn how to survive being burnt, and had to fashion armor instead.
Yeah, it definitely could have been.
Could have been.
There's honestly, it's a Joshua Williamson book. You got no idea where the hell it's gonna go.
Pretty much. I think that's one thing we can all agree on with Joshua Williamson. Yeah.
Shit can go anywhere, man.
Yep. Speaking of shit can go anywhere, man.
Speaking of shit can go anywhere.
Our last
Jiminy
book for
Christmas.
the week.
Tell me how you feel.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, this book has gone pretty much anywhere.
Oh, it definitely
a number
has.
of times. Yeah.
And this one, it goes some pretty dark places.
Yep.
Let's take a look at them. Detective Comics number 1088, written by Ron V. with art by Gilliam March, colors Luis Guerrero, letters Ariana Mar, and an Evan Kegel cover. We kick off with Joker's daughter making the speech broadcasting on television about the heroes choosing the rich over the rest of the city and planting explosives everywhere. Typical Gotham shit. Now wait and see who they say. More insane destruction in Gotham, nothing new. The same old, same old. The 10-eyed man is poking around in Shavad's head in the creepiest way possible. And meanwhile, the queen of the Orgams freaks out over Joker's daughter, but that's the least of her concerns because an armored truck shows up being driven by remote control. Being driven by remote control because everyone inside has been knocked out by Batman. He unleashes holy bat hell on her and her army men. While that's going on, Niang is busy with Mr. Freeze. Niang being the Orgum's best warrior. Um, Frieza isn't one to mess with apparently here because he gets all kinds of fucky. Niang has studied many techniques, one of which is the ability to raise his his body temperature. Freeze used that against him by lacing his gun with a blood thinner. And as he heated his body and the ice melted, it absorbed into his skin with a blood thinner, which makes all of his blood vessels explode. Dude's laying in a puddle of blood on the floor, not looking the greatest. Very
Yeah.
Games of Thrones. While
Yeah,
that's happening, we get to
messed up.
see, right? While that's happening, we get to see Two Face shoot Harvey to take out Ten Claw. And yes, I did say that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. Batman approaches the Queen. They fight and she loses, but as Batman approaches the door to the Thulum Ascension, to which they are using Jonathan Crane's mind to spread fear throughout Gotham, she says the door won't open and soon Batman will be crushed like a rodent as she changes form. You can smell the end and it smells good, and I mean, for Gotham anyway. you
Yeah.
know, March was perfect, and the wrap up seems to be handled as good as I hoped it would be. I'm really looking forward to the next issue, but before we get there, there is a backup in this one, and what a backup it is. Written by Dan Waters with art from Christopher Minton and colors from Patricio Del Peche with letters from Steve Wands. Talia al Ghul has done the unthinkable. She has replicated the Lazarus Pit's water. Not resin, not a serum, not a glint, the water. And who did she happen to bring back to life? None other than Arzum Orgum himself. Talia intends to help him seek revenge on his mom, and then that should suffice for the debt that her father owes him. Like, I guess, okay, sounds like logic. I'll help you care. I'll, I'll help you kill this parent to say sorry for my dad killing that parent. I can't, woo!
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder if Waters will be having a completely new story or if he'll be continuing from this one. He definitely contributed to the overall here. I enjoyed it a whole bunch. With that backup included, that it gets an 8.5 out of me.
Excuse me. That's a
No.
Yeah, this is the penultimate issue of Ramvir's run.
Yes.
So it is finally coming to an end. That's why this is titled Finale Part 2, or Part 1 of 2. And it is damn well coming to an end. Like, the Orgum
Orgum.
Orgum army is falling apart at the seams, even from the get-go. When, like, now it makes sense why the Joker reactivated Joker's daughter. So Catwoman went to the Joker, said, "We need your help," and Joker went to Duella Dent and said, "Look, you're not this person." And
Insanity
then she shows up.
on.
Yeah. And then she goes and says, "Okay, I'm just gonna blow shit up." and then the friggin' whatever her name is, the queen, she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with the city?" Like, that was perfect. Like, this is what happens when you try to take over Gotham. The insanity wins 100% of the time.
I mean, honestly, you know what? I don't usually do this, but I'm going to share the absolute insanity that happens in Detective Comics here.
Yeah.
Give me just a minute.
Yeah, it was wild. Between the Ten-Eyed Man, Joker's daughter, even Mr. Freeze just doing their thing and stopping these guys because they don't want the Gotham that these people are going to build. And they're not inherently just working with Batman, they're more so just working at the same time as Batman. And it was like a weird sense of camaraderie between them. Like they're all fighting to save Gotham for different reasons, um, and it all makes sense. It was just really well done how all these pieces came together at the end to fight for a common cause. Uh, the stuff with the Ten-Eyed Man alone was just freaking wild. Um,
It always is.
yeah, the thing I'm partly surprised about, but also not surprised about, is that this was Batman and the villains that are involved. There was no real mention of the extended Bat family or any member of the Bat family except for one panel with Cassandra going to save people. But that was like in passing as Joker's daughter was talking about them. There was really nothing else about the Bat family here, which I was kind of expecting to see. But I guess maybe next issue we might see them, hopefully, because I feel like there's a bit of story to tell there. Yeah, there is Mr. Freeze coagulating this guy's blood with his ice, and
Yeah.
he's dying a slow and painful death.
Incredibly painful. Like
Yeah.
this got dark.
as he says, your blood vessels are exploding now. That's oh my god.
Right? Have a blood vessel explode in your eye and how much that hurts. Imagine that throughout your entire body.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So it was pretty wild stuff. It was
100%.
really good issue. It really was. Now that we're finally getting to the end and it's all coming together, you can see the pictures happening and like you're seeing it all make sense. And I like that. I knew it was going to happen. It just took a long time to get there. 2 years of one story arc is nuts. But if anybody can do it, it's Romney. So
He certainly did it, did he
yeah,
not?
he certainly did. Hell, it might be. No, it's 2022 he took over. Yeah, so it'll be about 2 years. I will give this issue an 8.75.
An 8.75?
Yep.
That sounds fair enough to me, my man. I ranked it a little bit, just a little bit higher than you.
Yeah.
And I think that our top three might be just a tiny bit different, but not by much. My third place went to The Flash, second place went to Task Force 7, and first place went to Detective Comics. And my favorite moment was the artwork, honestly. That last splash page of Barry and Wally together, shown so small, holding on to that cut that they made in reality, and all of that black energy just spilling out. I thought that just looked so freaking cool. I was all about that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments, but I do have another one that I will say. For me, though, my number 3 was also The Flash. My number 2 was Detective Comics. My number 1 was Green Arrow, because I just ate that shit up. I think my favorite moments, if not the pages with Barry and Wally together, will be the last page of Green Arrow when Oliver shows up and says, "Get the hell away from my granddaughter." I got chills on the bus this morning.
Yeah.
I felt so good about that. Like, oh my god, he's back. We're so back. So I can't wait to see what happens there. But that's my top 3 and my favorite moments. And with that, I guess that'll be our show.
That is the show. I didn't take very long, despite how long it took us.
Yeah, realistically. Hour and a half showtime. Fucking 2.5 hour record time.
Boo.
Yeah. These things happen. Yeah.
Especially with me. All right, well, that is it, as our friend Rob here reminded us. So thank you, everyone, for watching. We will be back next week calling all of DC's weekly releases. Don't know what they are, but I promise you there will be some. Same geek time, same geek channel. Same geek channel anyway. And that's the show. We're getting out of here, so you will have to as well. Be careful out there. And remember, in the Geek Matrix, Everybody has a home in the Geek Matrix. You are not alone.